Maybe movies.
What's up? Oh, what the? Oh? Everything appears to be, wilting?
It's receding.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Shane's gone.
Bring it back.
Although, hang on a minute, I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe if he'll kick us out. Which could work, although, the question is, does that mean... That kind of means that he must be alive in some kind of way, shape or form.
I've been having some suspicions for a while now.
And I mean, there is a kind of a smug look on his face all of a sudden.
I swear he's looking at me.
So I suppose the real question is do we want to go back? I mean, from what Shane was saying, we may be better off in delirium?
Well,
What the... The horror's not over. It's Sam Terry too.
It was stuffy down there.
By the way, we always kind of thought that the floor was lava, so you may not want to stay down there too long.
No. If you don't mind, if I could sit down on something comfier, that'd be great.
There's a seat there, apparently.
grab a seat, buddy. Grab a seat.
Recently become vacant.
Let's dispose of that.
Let's dispose of that.
Oh, very warm down there.
Let's dispose of this as well. Would you like a shawl?
I didn't bring that there.
No, it was over here, but it's... let's get rid of that as well.
Hello, guys.
Hi, welcome back.
Where have you been? We had your disembodied voice, and then...
Well, I had to get signal somewhere.
Well, thank you for coming back, and we're glad you're still in one piece. Anyway,
Thank you. And I just wanted to let you know, I grabbed 2 films on the way out.
Is a store of films somewhere? So
In
is that
the
like a vast sort of library of the
Oh, there was loads of films, but I picked 2.
So do you think that thing that we talked about before about having the entire history of cinema to play with, there is literally a library of cinema somewhere?
Like Interstellar.
Awesome!
So it's...
Oh. Let's have a look. I'll get to this one. Near Dark, An American Werewolf in London.
Wow, that's gonna...
Well, this kind of makes sense because you would have probably landed on these while it was still technically spooky season.
Well, yes.
And because, well, let's face it, horror movies are not just for October, are they?
Well, you know how I feel about this.
Absolutely.
Every day is Halloween.
Exactly. Hello and welcome back to Maybe Movies for a new month of discovery, of something like that, I don't know, and of making theoretical movies based on the bits and pieces of existing movies, normally great ones that we have a great love for and have a special place in our heart. We all hope you had a great Halloween, and I'm going to take a few minutes to relax and not get pestered by... Oh no, hang on a minute. If it's November where you are, then you're already getting pestered for Christmas.
Hi, guys.
First of all, welcome back to our good friend Chris Smith.
Hello.
Congratulations as well on Borley Rectory. Is that all going okay?
Yes, it's going great, thank you. It's sold a lot of copies on different stores, so yeah, very pleased with that.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
Thank you for your promotion as well. I heard it all the way down from Void.
Oh, brilliant.
So yeah, thank you.
So
The
hang on.
signal in the void?
That's what I heard, yeah, and that's why I've tried to find signal by recommending these 2 films to you guys.
You can hear us.
Oh my god.
Who was the Shane guy?
See, this was kind of a weird thing, because when you disappeared, he was in your place, and we were trying to figure out whether or not you were kind of the larval stage of Shane.
I thought it was me when I was looking. I thought, well, how am I seeing us from another place?
That must have been freaky.
Plot
thickens. We thought we had it bad.
I had it worse.
But you see, this is the thing. Just before you appeared again, Shane kind of went a bit delirium crazy and attacked Trent, and then he just vanished.
Nobody messes with Trent.
Exactly. So, before we start having a look at how we're going to put these two together, one very quick shout out for one of our recent subscribers, for Wattz, that's Wattz, who is a local musician and also a graffiti artist. Does a lot of stuff in the kind of the legal areas of the city. sorry, not legal, they are legal areas of the city where you can throw up graffiti. In particular, I think he does a lot in the underpass near to where my flat would be in the real world. The West Botgate underpass.
Probably seen some of your work then.
So yeah, do go and check it out, and obviously there'll be a link to his channel in the description below. I think I've got... Cheers!
Cheers!
Happy post-Halloween, welcome back.
Oh, it's good to be back for Halloween.
Or extended Halloween.
A spooky season.
Is the night of Halloween night? Do we say tonight is Halloween night, or is tomorrow night Halloween night?
We can say every night is Halloween night.
Well, yes.
Every day is Halloween.
Exactly, time doesn't quite pass the same way.
I literally have the t-shirt that says so.
Oh my goodness.
It's official. Right, let's try and get into these. I suppose as we're still doing horror movies, we're still looking at our inverted setup where we take the antagonist and swap them into the other movie as opposed to the protagonist.
Right. Okay, yeah.
I'm assuming we were still doing that.
Yeah, I just wasn't thinking about it. I was doing my usual thing and thinking about the protagonists and not the... I was going on autopilot.
Well, we can discuss. We can decide. We don't have to because, again, I mean, that's something that we generally tend to do for spooky season. Mm-hmm. So it's entirely up to us whether we want to stick with that format or go back to the regular format and swapping the heroes, which might be easier. But at the same time, the other way might actually provide something a bit more interesting because I can find two ways of doing it. On the one hand, with Near Dark, your antagonists are quite clear. There they are. They're on the cover. Mm-hmm. But with this one...
Oh, I see what you mean.
There is an argument that says, actually...
Who's the bad guy?
Yeah,
I was confused by that, yeah.
Because ultimately...
Spider fence again.
Shane?
Hello?
Can you hear us, Shane?
They've got doors up there.
There wasn't any doors in the delivery room I went to.
Okay. You didn't see anything that looked like an elephant
No, it
with
was more revolving doors
Oh.
than an actual shutting mechanism.
Okay.
As long as they're not revolving mirror doors, because that would be...
No.
That's too much. Sorry, I'll get back to what I was saying. Yeah, because there's that kind of almost Jekyll and Hyde thing going on with David, he is both the hero and the villain.
Yes.
So you could arguably say then that the antagonist in that is lycanthropy itself.
Yes, yeah, the werewolf's the villain, not David.
Yeah. So, do we then want to possibly swap it and say that it was some random vampire that attacked David and Jack out on the moors, and in this, Caleb takes up with a wandering pack of werewolves, and make all of the characters werewolves rather than vampires?
What about the people in the slaughtered lamb?
Slaughtered lamb?
Are they almost antagonists? Because they're aware of everything that happens, and they know
a lot of what happens in that movie is their fault.
Yeah.
If they had just said, boys, stay in, have a cup of tea.
Yeah,
and they even said, look, we should have told them to stay inside. The landlady says...
You should go back in.
Yeah, we should have told them to stay in, and then everyone else was like, nah.
I don't know. I don't know. They are partially, but I just took it as most of the time that most of the villagers there they're just frightened people. Doing what they think is best.
Yes, but in terms of whose fault it is, the villainy lies at their feet.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying, Chris makes a perfectly valid point. In terms of villainy, there are the actual people whose actions directly led to...
Because they know what's happening as well. They know there's a werewolf about, and they even say, like, what's the satanic sign all about?
Yeah.
And that's quite demonic for a group of people to have on them. Wall and not.
I always think that was supposed to be it's a warding sign, isn't it, to protect them from the werewolf?
The werewolf, yeah.
But it's old magic. It means they know about the werewolf. Yeah. It? It says they know.
I mean, the other way to go with it is that we translate the vampires from this and just drop them into here, in which case then that brings up another set of problems. It's like, well, then they're all supposed to be elements from American history.
Yeah.
Therefore, if we're going to do that, do we then keep the same actors, but then translate them into something that's quintessentially British? So instead of Jesse fighting for the South, are we going to say that Jesse fought in the English Civil War?
I think it was Civil War, or in the Troubles, or...
Something like that. I mean, there's a number of ways that we can do this. Obviously, we need to decide which one we're going on before we even can start to look at building the films themselves.
Are our young David Norton would get himself nabbed by a band of quintessentially British vampires.
Yes. Which could work.
I quite like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so change the culture around for a bit.
So we're going to go with that then? So we're going to go, we'll take them out and drop them in there.
And then vice versa?
That's going to be a case of, in this one then, he will have been just attacked by a random werewolf.
Is it not a group of werewolves then? Or is it just like a family of werewolves, like as opposed
Well, as I say, there's two ways. If we go with, we just swap their conditions, so we're swapping like anthropomorphic for vampirism, then everyone stays in their own film. It's just what condition they have is different.
vampire werewolf swap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we take our vampires from here and drop them into there, and then we take the random werewolf who's at the start, who then gets killed almost straight away, and drop him into here. Which again is going to give us a completely different film, because you're not going to get the road movie element of this.
No, werewolves can't drive as well once they're in good form, whereas vampires can perfectly drive a vehicle.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
That changes everything.
I think that's got to be the name of the episode, isn't it? Werewolves can't drive.
That's the law. That's the rules, right?
Okay, I didn't know that.
All right. Okay. So, all right. It'd be interesting to see how this works. Certain things can play out very differently. But where does Jack go then? I was going to say, because otherwise he doesn't have an undead contact, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, so Jack would have to come into this.
Yeah, because then if he sees him in his dreams, he could actually see him as a vampire. Because if he got bitten by vampires,
Yeah.
supposedly he never has been dead. He could just always appear in his form as a vampire.
We could move Jack, or we could move the concept of Jack or what he represents into this, because there's that guy that he meets, his mate that he meets right at the start, who jumps on his truck.
Flesh him out into our version of Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise, you see, Caleb doesn't have a friend who would be undead and warn him about the werewolf's curse and all of those things about the plot.
Yeah.
So we need someone like Jack to be with Caleb.
To tell him what's going on, almost.
Yeah.
So we're going to go with that. We're going to move these guys into there.
Unless you want to be really cruel and make it like, actually, the Jack character is like his dad or something. You know, as in being the undead person, his dad gets killed with him and they get attacked is a possibility. Because it helps him by isolating Caleb, you see, in that sense. It forces him out into the world.
It does force him out into the world.
Well, that'll change the purpose why they go on holiday as well, isn't it? Because the two, David and Jack, go off on a holiday together, but they're trying to meet women as well. And
Yeah.
all that. Would that be the same thing for
Oh, yeah.
father and son?
No, right, yes.
Because they talk at the beginning of the film, don't they? They're like, oh, we're going to do this.
We're going to do that, yeah.
But father and sons, I guess, wouldn't probably do that on the trip together.
No, you're right. Well, this is more difficult than I realised.
I think we need to keep the dad. If we lose him, then there's going to be nothing really to protect his sister as well.
Oh.
And his dad's quite clever, because obviously he's the one who figures out about the transfusion and all those kind of things.
He saves his son.
Yeah, essentially. I think there are other characters that have smaller parts to play in the original film that we could enlarge their part, as you say, to serve the purpose of Jack in that.
Yeah, right, okay. Right. This is getting complicated.
But it could work. But it could work if you do that, because then it's not about him on the run from obviously having taken up with the gang of vampires. It's then about Caleb basically trying to get as far away from people as possible, because he's going to change. So you still get that road movie element of it. It's just he's travelling on his own with his Jack.
Oh, right, yeah.
His dad is still trying to find him.
Yeah.
But he's trying to get away from his dad, I guess.
And then I suppose in this one instead you'd have David and Jack again. They go to the slaughtered lamb. Well, they're in that village. That's where he would meet somebody like May.
Yeah.
Jack gets pissed off because she's obviously got a shine for him, not for Jack. Jack goes off somewhere. He then gets probably taken out by the other vampires. Does that work?
I think it works. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So David still has the guilt about Jack.
Yes.
So yeah, we're going to have to flesh out his buddy, whose name I do not recall.
I can't remember. He does say it but I mean, it's fine. We can
American Werewolf
his
alone.
name either.
Yeah.
Damn.
He's only in it for that one scene, isn't he?
Yeah. But we need to flesh him out to make him the Jack.
Absolutely. We can do some research
It
on
doesn't
that.
take much. He's only going to survive an extra 10 minutes.
Yeah. In terms of acts, for American Werewolf in London, I thought Act 1 ends when Jack first appeared.
I didn't get all the way through American Werewolf London earlier, but I was just up to that point, and it did feel like that's turning point. Also, time-wise, it's very close. It's an escalation, because he's been having the weird dreams, and suddenly, no, his friend is talking to him, and he's not dreaming this time.
Yes, exactly. And then I would have called Act 2 the taxi journey. When she's trying to get him back to the doctor, and
he hears the news on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking...
What, and then changes?
You know, because he hears the news on the radio when she's trying to take him back to the hospital, and he jumps out of the taxi, runs away, and ends up in that cinema in Soho.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be the end of Act 2 in American Werewolf in London.
Right, okay.
For Near Dark, I put the trucker. So his first night when May tries to get him to kill the truck
the first
driver.
victim.
Yeah, and he refuses, and he jumps out of the truck.
I mean, I put it just a tiny bit earlier. He's done the whole thing when he tries to run away and go home and gets sick and can't, and he ends up having to go back to her, and she feeds him her blood.
That's what I was going to end up roughly on.
Because that's the, you're a vampire now, fucking deal with it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But then that then leads into her taking him on the prowl and trying to teach him to hunt.
So I'll change trucker to bus, because it's around that area, isn't it, when he gets the bus home.
Also, did you notice that the bus stop, the bus station cop was the sheriff from The Frighteners?
Yes. I knew I recognised him. I've seen him in but yes, absolutely. Act 3 on Near Dark, I called it the transfusion.
I called it slightly before that.
Okay.
I called it when they arrived at the Godspeed Motel, so after the shootout with the cops, and Caleb does the big thing and he gets the spurs. It's when his dad turns up and everything gets complicated and flipped on his head. Yeah, the motel.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes more sense.
So that's still Act 3 then, when the dad comes in and the whole...
That would be the turning point, yeah. So that...
Yeah, when the dad comes in and the sister's there and he's like, I want to turn her, and it's like, no, you can't. That's your beginning of Act 3, isn't it? Because that's when it turns on them.
So with the little girl going with Homer, and they watch TV together, and she says, where's your dad?
Yeah, that bit.
Does that end there? Or would that be the beginning of Act 3 still?
It's a tough call. Is it when they drag his dad in and point the gun at his face? But it's somewhere around about that
I would
point.
say it's probably the end of that scene, because it's kind of like
as they run away.
Yes, because the battle lines have been done.
So Act 3 does begin with the transfusion then. You're right. I stand corrected.
Cool. Well, but we're both right. I mean, I was right for that's the start of Act 3, but you're right that the scene before that is the end of Act 2.
Yeah.
Just to split hairs.
Cause arguments.
You kind of know what we mean, really.
In terms of... I don't know what you guys came up with. In terms of names, I came up with Near London and An American Werewolf in the Dark.
Oh! That makes... Actually, I like it. I really like it.
It does, because it's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Also, it's not an American Werewolf in England. It's not. It's an American Werewolf in
America, yes.
Yeah.
So it's one of those rare occasions where we're going to have to, rather than doing the base movie is the first part of the title, actually it's going to be the second part of the title in this one.
I like that one. Yeah, An American Werewolf in the Dark. That's great. Yeah.
But also the other one could work well for that, Near London, because, again, as we see with the vampires in this, they try and stay away from very sort of large populated areas. So they could be just skirting around the outskirts of London.
Yeah. And of course, it would be like the final act would be near London.
Yeah.
So we call it Near London?
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah, no, definite approval there.
Yay.
I almost feel inclined to give him a gold star because I like the poetry of those titles. Your call, of course.
Can you say it again?
Near London and An American Werewolf in the Dark.
I like them.
Those are some good titles. Those are some good titles.
We had a bit of a lean month on stars last month, I think.
3?
Yeah, we came joint first with 3. After Shane kind of kicked our asses.
He minced us in September. I
got 5, he got 7 or something.
Oh, yeah, it was scary.
How did he outsmart you guys?
He just went, great idea. Whoa, okay, have a star.
New month, and we are off. Great! So, I think that's us. Oh, I suppose the last thing we need to decide is which one do we want to do first?
I'm fine with either. You two.
I feel like I feel like the one that's probably going to be most likely to break we should do first, and I feel like that's going to be An American Werewolf in the Dark.
I'm easy. I don't mind with either.
Fine.
Right, well,
We'll go for that.
that's what it is then. So,
Cool.
So that one is going to be
An American Werewolf in the Dark.
So that's
But
going
that
to be the
story
vampire.
consists
So
of-
that's Caleb being attacked by a
Right.
random werewolf.
right.
Yes.
Near dark with werewolves then.
Yeah.
Okay. Because obviously you have the three, which you've told me about, the three actors from Aliens in this one.
Yes.
The Kathryn Bigelow, James Cameron match.
I know, it was literally rewatching it this time that I suddenly realised, no, that's fucking Vasquez!
It is, yeah. Which will be the second film that we've done with her in it.
Indeed, yeah.
She's the maid in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, where they drag into the room.
Oh! I didn't know that. Now you need a pin-up.
It was
poster
only him
of
telling
her.
me that made me realise, because, like, yeah, it's not just that she looks different now, but also the way they made her up. She doesn't look anything like any of these other characters that we know her as.
No,
Do we know the actress's name?
Jeanette Goldstein.
Thank you.
Jeanette Goldstein, if you're watching this, we love you.
We do.
Okay, so please do come back and join us next Wednesday, when we'll be looking at Act 1 of An American Werewolf in the Dark.
Love it, love it.
And we hope you have a great weekend. Is it too early to say Happy Thanksgiving? Sorry, I'm British. So.
It's pretty close.
It's early to say Merry Christmas.
It's way too early to say Merry
Is
Christmas.
it? It's the 16th, isn't it, or something?
Probably.
No, Christmas is the 25th.
I always get those two mixed up. Anyway, before this gets any worse, thank you again for stopping by. And if you are new to the channel, then please do consider like, share, subscribe, leave us a comment, and just to add to the list, hit the notification bell as well to be kept apprised of new content. Until then, take care.
As always, guys, TTFN.
Ba 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 ba.